All right, man, peace. So former superstar wide receiver Dez Bryant was summarily released by the Dallas Cowboys last week, and I did a couple of videos on the topic. One of them being that Dez Bryant was pointing the finger at the captains of the Dallas Cowboys, that being Dak Prescott and Jason Witten, and blaming them for why he was cut. And it was very obvious to me why he was released from the team. Number one, he was not producing, but number two, they made a decision that the relationship between Dak Prescott and Dez Bryant was never going to be good enough for Dak Prescott to make Dez Bryant the asset that they needed him to be. I also stated that it was very clear to me that Dez Bryant planned on signing with the New York Giants because he had a sit-down interview in which he stated that he wanted to remain in the division. Why was I able to deduce that he wanted to go to the New York Giants? Because every time the Dallas Cowboys played the New York Giants, right before the game, Dez would go over to Odell Beckham and they would talk and laugh, so on and so forth. They have very similar personalities. They're both extremely high-strung. So they fit well together in regards to hanging out off the field. But would it be a good idea for the Giants to sign him? Absolutely not. His production would not be a proper offset for his hijinks. At least Odell's production is a proper offset for his hijinks as long as he's healthy. But anyway, if they're going to talk about it, I'm going to chime in.
Sports Center right now. I'm Anthony at the Collins. The Giants are releasing Brandon Marshall after just one season. GM Dave Gettleman saying Marshall failed the physical. The five-time Pro Bowler missed most of last season after suffering a left ankle injury in Week 5 that required season-ending surgery. Then, less than 24 hours after Marshall's release, free agent Dez Bryant posting this video on Instagram of himself working out with Giants number one receiver Odell Beckham Jr. So cue the rumors of death to the Big Apple. Our NFL insider Dan Graziano.
This shit looks so damn silly. And desperate too. But I guess desperate times call for desperate measures.
Graziano with more.
Dez needs to show footage of him working on his route running. That's what he needs to show. And his hands.
Look, it makes some
Them two fools look like they practicing for the Double Dutch tournament. What the hell's going on?
sense on paper. They just released Brandon Marshall.
That's probably another reason why he wants to go to the Giants. So he won't have to go up against Jackrabbit again. Jackrabbit be locking his ass down.
Marshall, they could use a big-bodied red zone target. That's probably what Dez Bryant is at this point in his career. I don't think he's going to go somewhere and be the number one receiver, and it seems like he would like to go to the Giants, so it seems like a fit. But my understanding is at this point the Giants are not thinking that way. If they're going to address the receiver position, maybe it'll be in the middle rounds of the draft, or maybe there's another veteran that shakes loose. Can't rule it out completely, but at this point, I think it's more hope and speculation on the part of the players in that video and maybe some fans than it is a realistic possibility.
For more, here's First Take.
It looks like Odell Beckham and Dez Bryant are already working on their chemistry. Dez says he'd like to stay in the division, and he could face those Dallas Cowboys twice a year, Darren Woodson. How do you feel about it? Actually, you're not starting.
I'm just saying.
I got to start with him.
Oh, please.
Go ahead. Eye contact, thanks. Should Dez want to be a Giant?
Of course not. I mean, that's just ludicrous. He's just being emotional, caught up in his feelings.
Emotional?
Yeah, because they...
Yeah, you would know. It takes one to know one. But I agree. Dez is completely emotional and caught up in his feelings. And if the Giants were to sign Dez Bryant, it would be, to me, a very thorough and heavy inclination that they are starting to degrade as an organization.
He could play for Big Blue, iconic franchise.
Well, again, I'm sorry. You don't get to ask the question and answer.
All right, you're right.
Thank you, sir. It's about time you put your damn foot down with her. Bootleg Kim Kardashian you got as a moderator.
You're right.
I am entitled to answer.
I'm getting
all right,
excited.
here's the reality of the situation. Dez is caught up in his emotions. And Dez want to sit up there and get back at a team that let him go. Now, listen, I personally believe that he got hosed by the Cowboys because...
No, I don't believe that he got hosed. His performance has been sequentially going down year by year, incrementally, ever since he hurt his foot in 2015. It was time for him to go. They understood that they were going to make their bed with Dak Prescott. The Dez Bryant era is over. And I think that they needed to get rid of him so that they could bring in another receiver that Dak Prescott could build some type of relationship with that could be beneficial, that Dak could trust, and would not have to worry about going to the media and making little sniping comments. Dez is very immature, and Dak is extremely mature to the point of being Machiavellian. And that is why this season is going to be a referendum on Dak Prescott, because he had the exemplary rookie season. The second season isn't as bad as many of the Cowboy fans make it out to be, but it was a bit of a letdown in light of what he was able to do in his rookie year. But people have to understand that the offensive line was nowhere near as good. Ezekiel Elliott missed 6 games, and his allegedly best wide receiver, Dez Bryant, was terrible.
Because for them not to even allow him to try to restructure his deal, take some kind of pay cut, you're basically sending the message out that he's a bad apple that we no longer wanted any part of. Whether it's for being late to practices or not showing up for treatment or whatever the case may be, you know, something went awry, and that's the message that you're trying to send. With all of that being said, at the end of the day, I would like to think that Dez is a smart businessman. And let me tell you something right.
I have no idea why you would assume that. There's nothing against Dez Bryant, but when I think Dez Bryant, the term smart is nowhere near in the vicinity.
Right now, being in New York City, you can say what you want to say, but that's Odell Beckham Jr.'s joint. That is not Dez Bryant.
What you mean?
Now, let me tell you, I'll tell you where you go. Brian, I'll tell you where you go, you get Dez Bryant. You go to Green Bay. You play with Aaron Rodgers. Why? Because he's a bad man.
That's not a bad suggestion, and that's actually the suggestion that I made in the previous video. That is where he should go. You know what's so funny? One of these guys said in the comment, "Oh, you know, I think that you watched the segment before you before you comment on what they're going to say." Bruh and brothers, do you know how many times these so-called professional sports pundits end up saying something that I said a week in advance, a month in advance? I don't have to copy the observations of nobody. It is what it is.
That's why, and he'll make Dez Bryant look better than what Eli Manning would make Dez, because I don't care.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. He needs to be with a quarterback that is exceptionally accurate. As we all know, Aaron Rodgers is the most accurate quarterback in the NFL, maybe in NFL history. So I agree with you, Stephen A. Smith. I think that would be a perfect match. But Dez would not be able to get the money that he would think he deserves. But I think that he would have his best season in 3 years with Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, who you are as a wide receiver, if you don't have the quarterback that can get you the football, I promise you can't look good.
Listen,
Aaron Rodgers.
Listen,
that's where he should want to go.
Maybe there are teams that he should want to go more than the Giants.
But that's what I'm saying.
But the Giants are an excellent choice. First of all,
yes, because you're a Giants fan.
The reports of Eli Manning's demise have been greatly exaggerated.
I agree. The reports of Eli's demise have been greatly exaggerated because, according to Giants fans, he's in the midst of his demise, when in all reality, Eli Manning's demise happened about 2 years ago. He's been done. The only reason why he's still in the NFL is because of his last name, and that's it. And the only reason why he's going to get into the NFL Hall of Fame, which he will, is because of his last name and those 2 miraculous Super Bowl victories against the New England Patriots.
He's been playing without an offensive line. Now, they just signed.
An issue last year. Don't laugh.
They just signed Nate Solder,
right.
And
Eric Flowers moved over to the right.
Yeah, but they might draft Quentin Nelson, who's supposed Teddy.
Might. The Giants better draft the best offensive lineman available because their offensive line was terrible. I mean, their protection was the worst that I've seen in recent memory. Eric Flowers, they might as well call that motherfucker I-95. That was a highway to the quarterback.
Bruschi on the show talking about the importance of offensive line, guard play.
But they ain't gonna do it.
Guard play nowadays, and all of a sudden, on the left side, all of a sudden, Quentin Nelson's supposed to be something different.
I don't care.
Something different.
They ain't gonna take him number 2.
Oh, he's gonna go in the top 5.
They ain't gonna take him number 2. They're not gonna.
The point is, I think there's a chance. Solder, but let's say it's not Solder and Nelson, and the offensive line isn't a lot better. Let's say they take Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
Now you have Eli Manning, 2-time Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
Only been 5 of those guys in the history of football. He's one of them.
Right.
What does that really mean, though? Okay, he's been a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. Does that truly put him in the upper echelon of all-time great quarterbacks? No, it doesn't. But it will be the reason why he makes the NFL Hall of Fame.
And now these are his offensive weapons. You're Dez Bryant, right? You don't want everyone paying attention to you. You're not as good as you used to be. Odell Beckham Jr., a transcendent talent. Saquon Barkley, same. Your slot receiver, your little route runner is Sterling Shepard, who's excellent.
I want to see how good he's going to be. I believe that Sterling Shepard got married a few months ago to one of those quote-unquote supermodels. I hope he still has his head on straight.
And your tight end is Evan Ingram, who has a pass catcher. That is some next-level speed up the middle of the field.
Look at Molly over there flirting with Darren Woodson, acting like she's giving him the what you got to say now pose, and really she's trying to show off them knockers.
Field. And now you're Dez Bryant. You know who no one's going to be paying attention to on defense? You know what the other team, they'll never be able to game plan for? Dez Bryant. He will have a field day. He knows it. That's why he mentioned it.
This fool said that no one's going to know how to game plan for Dez Bryant. It's very easy to game plan for that brother. All you got to do is leave him open. I promise you he'll drop it.
There are better choices than the Giants, but considering they get to play Dallas twice a year, the Giants are a really good choice
y'all
for him.
drinking the Kool-Aid, that big blue Kool-Aid. You're drinking it, both of you. I can see your reaction. You're just drinking it. Look, that's fantasy football.
Think about that.
There is no way.
Get him, Darren. Tear that ass up.
Wait, I mean, if Dez Bryant is going to make a business decision, and be a business man, he does not go to the New York Giants. There's for no reason. For one, you're
for $500,000 a year.
Exactly. For $500,000 at the end of your career. You take the money. Whoever's offering, I don't care if it's Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers or if it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. You find a team, business-wise, that's willing to come up and make the money at the end.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that if he were to sign with Green Bay and he put together 2 stellar seasons with Aaron Rodgers, he can get one last big contract and then ride out into the sunset as a receiver that many will debate could be a Hall of Famer. If he goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars and plays with Blake Bortles, I think that it will be even more obvious that he's declining as a receiver, if for no other reason than Blake Bortles is extremely inaccurate. And I think that it's going to reflect on the perception of Dez Bryant, and that's not what he needs right now. He needs to be with an extremely accurate quarterback. That's why I stated since the first video that I made covering this topic that he should go to the Green Bay Packers.